A very good morning, very good afternoon, or good evening, or wherever you may be. My name is Sean.
This is Alex.
And this is Sven.
My favorite part of every episode is Sven enters the chat. This is season 3, Cozy Kings Radio. Another episode. I think we're already on episode, is it 4 or 5? Sven, what are we at?
I think 3.
Oh, 3, okay.
3.
Well, we do have a mini-sode series.
Exactly.
So
it depends on how you count.
Every Monday now, this season, we are releasing a short mini-sode. The first 10 are from Ian O'Donnell, one of our team members, who is talking about the lost coasters of California. And these 10 minisodes go along with 10 articles on our website as well, kind of throwing it back to our previous California content. And he's diving in deep in all the coasters that are no longer with us. So that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
I like how it's like, you know, those cassette recordings from the 90s. That's his style. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, almost like an audio book, but it's Ian talking about roller coasters.
The little chapter.
Yeah, have a listen.
It's very cool. So check that out. And then, of course, we've got all sorts of other articles on our website, including a new X2 Asian Nika Dinoconda article that compares all three. There's a common misconception that they are pretty much the same coaster, and they are completely not the same coaster. They're all very, very different. And I decided that it was time to show the world exactly what was different and which one was my favorite, that sort of thing. So definitely check that out. I think you'll find it interesting.
And then we have a new Disney rides top 20 or all the best Disney rides in the world ranked.
Yeah. We went back in 2017, released an article. Obviously, so much has happened to the world and the Disney parks in those couple of years. So we are relaunching our top 20 with some very interesting choices that I almost disappointed myself with. But I have to be honest with the world. So that's going to be a fun one that is also available to you guys, all on the coasterkings.com. And I think I'm ready to introduce today's topic, which is a rapid-fire Q&A. I don't even know how we got to the idea anymore, but the idea was...
It was probably Sven's idea.
We pretty much crowdsourced.
No,
I think it was mine, but I don't know where I got it from anymore. But
I was the muse.
So we went ahead and asked everyone online to send us random questions, whether that's theme park related, roller coaster related, anything of that sort. And we have compiled a giant list of questions from Instagram accounts, Facebook people, all that sort of thing.
So many.
And we are going to go ahead and rapid fire go through these as randomly as possible, and I'll give as quick answers. I haven't even looked at these questions in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that way, for me too, it has to be a quick on the moment response. And I think that's fun because sometimes you can really dissect questions and
too much,
argue. But the first thing on top of your head is, I think, just a fun way of kind of finding out what our opinions are of attractions and that sort of thing. So that is today's topic.
I'm ready.
Are you excited?
Hang on. Do we all scream our answer at the same time?
Time.
Maybe we should do it like a set order. I'll ask the question. Alex first answer, Sven second answer, me third answer.
I have to go first? Okay.
Yeah, because you're
Alex.
And Alex, English is your first language, so you have less processing time.
Wow. Okay.
And then I'll go back and announce the next question. Okay. And then we'll do the same order.
We can do it in Dutch, Alex, but I think
then you can be third if you want.
Then I can,
God, translating all these questions to Dutch real quick, it's going to be a real
quick.
Real quick. Rapid fire translation. Speaking of which, Sven watches American television with Dutch subtitles, and we always have these conversations about how terribly trashed these translations are. It's just I can't do it anymore. If it's it's just Dutch with no subtitles, it's just English.
I want to watch Sesame Street. There's Sesamstraat.
Sesamstraat.
With English subtitles.
Okay, so the reason this comes about is because the official Twitter account of Big Bird has shared all his friends and family around the world.
His cousins.
And in the Netherlands, we have Pino. And I'm not sure if he's in Belgium, but he's definitely in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and he's canonically Big Bird's cousin now.
He's the exact same color. He's the exact same size, but he's blue.
All of the Big Birds used to be
Then there's a really scary one in Brazil. Gibraldo, I think his name is. And then there's a really cute, colorful one in Mexico. And then there is one that is pinkish in Turkey.
Yeah.
And those are all family of the Big Ol' Big Bird.
It used to be that it was like none of the Sesame Streets like overlapped, but I guess now they've decided that it's canon that all of these are relatives of Big Bird.
Yeah, because they introduced these new characters in the U.S. and they've also moved on to other international versions, like Abby is in the Netherlands, even though that's a pretty recent addition. So, like we're already not answering questions, but going off track. But yeah, so Pino is our big blue friend from the Netherlands and Belgium.
Anyway.
All right, from Sesamstraat, rapid Q&A. First question from at the Parks on Instagram. Best coaster country in Europe, Alex.
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah, Germany. Okay, great. Next question from at a whole lot of Rosie on IG. What's your favorite themed area?
That's an AC/DC song, by the way. That's a great old song by AC/DC.
I don't think people heard the question because you were laughing so loud. So, what is your favorite themed area?
My favorite themed area would have to be Pandora in Animal Kingdom.
Klugheim.
Tomorrowland, Shanghai.
All right.
Next question from @_Cleo does coasters_ on Instagram. Favorite park in terms of theming?
Tokyo Disney Sea.
Disneyland Paris.
Question mark.
Animal Kingdom. Yep, I have to do that.
All right.
I don't count the studios in that.
Oh no.
Analysis.
Disneyland is the album and Studios is the bonus material.
Yeah.
So from Gary at Coasting with Culture on Facebook, Facebook page about theme parks. When the pandemic is finally past us and international travel becomes easier again, what's the next destination for the Coaster Kings?
China.
Listen to the previous podcast.
China. Well, that's because we traveled together.
Yeah.
Maybe some
China
U.S.
and
destinations.
Europe
But yeah, I would say China.
As soon as I can go international, it's your Orlando for me.
Yeah.
From Carlos Mora on Facebook, what's the biggest issue, such examples you've seen with gatekeeping and privilege holding within the community? And is there a realistic way to move past that toxicity? This is a hard question.
Wow. This is a big...
I can repeat it real quick for our listeners. What's the biggest issue / example you've seen with gatekeeping and privilege holding within the community? And is there a realistic way to move past that toxicity? I can go first if you want me to.
I can go first.
Okay.
I think there's just a lot of people that seem to like to congratulate each other for being wealthy, having money, being privileged, and there's not a lot of accountability for people who have that kind of privilege and are doing things with, they have good content because they inherited a good circumstance, and people will look the other way. It's like, well, their content is good, like whatever, I'm not here to care about what they're saying personally or whatever, but I feel like that's the issue that I see the most as far as like the privilege thing goes. And I think really people need to be holding their content creators accountable for their behavior, and don't support content from people that you aren't happy with their behavior, and focus on people who are trying to be decent people through everything and not just coasting on everything that they already have and their terminal straightness or terminal whiteness or
sure. How about you, Sven?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, so in Europe this may not be as much of a thing as the US
because
but
in
the
UK it's a problem.
I'm not sure because of course there's also issues in the European theme park community, but I guess that's with every community that there are things that people like and don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So can you elaborate more about what is the issue then in the US?
Well, I think there are several issues that are in kind of potentially to be brought up. I think one of them is just the community itself, people that don't necessarily create content just among each other, like people that have had the privilege of traveling to lots of places and have a high credit count, and then for some reason believing that their own opinion is much more valid than that of people that haven't traveled. And I think that's one that I'm going to go gear towards, given that Alex already geared more towards content creators. So I think that's kind of there. there's like this sort of class system unannounced, unofficial class system from those that have traveled and have ridden a lot and have been around the scene for a while. That then kind of like to invalidate opinions of people that haven't.
Yeah, that's the gatekeeping component.
That is definitely the gatekeeping component. I think that's honestly kind of a nasty thing to do. I was, like I've said in previous episodes last season, I was personally more enthusiastic about roller coasters when I wasn't traveling because I was learning and I was discovering them online and I was really passionate. And the more I travel, the more I become a critic. Yeah. So if anything, I feel that everyone's opinion should matter more because some people look at it in a different light now that they've seen more than people look at it before they started traveling. And just to kind of create a class system there is honestly complete BS. And I think that's one of the things that needs to be addressed.
Like, taking money that your parents gave you to ride roller coasters doesn't make you a better enthusiast. It just doesn't.
And then people that have to work hard to go on their trips across country, for example,
and can't ride. It's classist. It's like, well, you don't have that. It's not an being born wealthy is not an accomplishment, and traveling with money that you just had isn't an accomplishment. It's just a hobby. So there's people who want to be congratulated on being fortunate, and couldn't be me.
Is there anything like that in Europe, Sven?
Well, the thing is, there are, of course, a lot of different communities in Europe because every country usually has a community in their own language. So I can't really speak for all of Europe together. I don't think there is that a large majority of people that act that way here in Europe. But what I wanted to say was that for me, it doesn't matter how much you have on your calendar. You can have your opinion, and it's always interesting to see and compare those opinions. And I also thought about, like, some coasters, I think less of them because I've done better. But actually, I shouldn't take that in account because it's that ride that needs to be judged on its own and if I enjoy it or not, So sometimes that makes me more understand people's opinions that have ridden less coasters. So I think that's important too.
Totally.
Well, this is probably the longest answer we're going to be giving today. Shout out to Carlos Mora.
Really long. Some of these questions are 2 lines long.
But the next one should be pretty quick one. So from Tim Baldwin, I think he's... What is he famous for again? He's Ace, but...
He's the editor-in-chief of Amusement Today.
There you go. He commented on Facebook, and he asked, how can
He's
a park...
He's a personal friend of mine, and he gave 10 answers, so
we'll be splitting it up. So how can a park make a production model unique in other ways?
Atmospheric theming.
Sure.
That's
Quick answer.
Probably
theming and music.
Music, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in theming and music as well.
Yeah,
easy answer. Next up, we'll do another one from Tim Baldwin, which is what are the best coaster names in the last 3 years?
The best coaster names in the last 3 years. What's the name of the Cheetah Hunt inspired Intamin in China? Revenge.
Light of Revenge.
Light of Revenge. That's my new favorite.
Okay.
At the moment, there's only one ride name that can't get out of my head, and that's the Ride of Happiness by Tomorrowland. And that's just because it's ridiculous.
The Ride of Happiness.
I think I like Conda a lot.
Conda?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would have said Dynaconda if it was like in the past, if it was beyond 3 years ago. But Conda, I think it looks good. Looks cool.
Wallaby Belgium always has issues to find good names, and so they really have to think of it because we're a bilingual country. So it needs to be a name that works in both sides of the country, both in Dutch and in French.
So you don't end up with another Loup Garou and Weerwolf situation where it's like 2 names for one ride. So China.
I think Conda.
So Pulsar and Conda and...
Tiki Waka.
To make up some words.
Tiki Waka, So.
They're all kind of nonsense, and I like that. Next question was from Brandon Allen on Facebook. He asked, what's your favorite part of traveling to different parks?
I guess for me, it's experiencing culture outside of the United States. Well, as I always put it, people ask me, like, well, why do you waste all of this time at theme parks when you're in these exotic countries instead of doing things that are, like, culturally relevant? And I'm like, well, theme parks are how I experience American culture best. That's the best way for me to experience other cultures is the differences between American parks and other theme parks. So I would say that I feel like traveling to other parks, the best part of that is experiencing another country in that way, in the way that is the most valuable to me.
Sure. How about you, Sven?
For me, it's staying at places where you never imagined you'd stay. Because, like, if you're going to Holiday Park or Tripsdrill, or you usually look for a cozy B&B or apartment in a forgotten German city that no one even knows. But it's cool. But sometimes it's some pleasant surprises of really good areas to stay. So I really like that.
I'll have to piggyback on Alex's answer, is that when you travel to other countries and to their theme parks, you learn so much about the people there, whether it's the way attractions are operated or the way people react to what's in the parks or the themes they choose, that sort of thing. So that is my favorite part about traveling to different parks. You can really pick up, even within countries, like within China, for example, parks in East China are completely different than parks in South China. Clientele seems to be different. And so I think you really learn a lot that way about a culture. So I would have to piggyback back on that. Next question comes from @CLT Coaster on Instagram. He or she, they asked, what wooden coaster should be RMC'd next?
None of them. I'm tired of Iron Horse coasters. Sorry.
Okay.
There's a few in Europe still, because there's a lot in America, but not in Europe. I think I have to go for Coaster Express.
Well, that sucks. I was going to say Coaster Express too. I think that the layout is incredibly boring, and they can do a lot with that, and has a lot of space. Could be the next Iron Gwazi, really. So for me as well. Next question comes from Andrew McLaughlin on Facebook. What's your guys' favorite traditional low-tech dark ride?
Oh, okay. So
that's a fun one.
Low-tech, I guess, would be...
Like old Sally stuff, maybe?
Like old... I would have to go with... I guess I would say like Pirates of the Caribbean would be low-tech in the sense that it's really not that different than what it was when it opened. It's just... mannequins and things moving. It's not like anything.
Sure. Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, okay, so the animatronics and stuff have been updated, but like.
That's fair.
The original Pirates of the Caribbean and some, like, in its original. I guess like the version of like Tokyo Disney, for example, which hasn't been updated in any way, shape, or form since it opened in '83, and it was basically a carbon copy of how Anaheim's looked at the time. It's almost like a little time capsule. So I would say that.
For me, it's Fata Morgana at Efteling, because it's, that one scene in the palace where you have so many animatronics. It's just, I love it.
And I'm going to go and yell out Mr. Toad, because Mr. Toad is super old school, very, very basic, but it just brings that super classic Disneyland charm. So that's got to be
one
mine.
That definitely hasn't, for the better, has not changed very much.
Next up is from Amanda Jane on Facebook. If you could design your own coaster, what would you theme it to?
I guess I'm fascinated with the end of the world. so
Thor Park's next coaster.
Thor Park, like I'm really like the Swarm's apocalyptic aesthetic, where like the loading station is a cathedral, where I imagine that everybody flocks to the church to ask for forgiveness before the alien creature murders them and sends them to the next plane of existence. So something along those lines of the collapse of society, apocalypse, and or the annihilation of the planet. It's just like normal stuff.
All right.
Not psychotic at all.
For me, it's music.
Yeah, checks out.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking about right now is how cool it would be that I'm thinking of an indoor coaster, like, okay, kind of copying Rock and Roller Coaster, but each time you ride, you don't know what style of music you will get into.
Oh, fun.
So that might be cool.
For me, I'm going to have to say something like abandoned temple jungle theme. I feel like naturalistic approaches are always just visually very pleasing, and I feel like I like future stuff too, but I feel like it outdates so quickly. So I'm gonna go with like abandoned temple, overrun ruin sort of thing.
OCT
I remember
used.
that from our episode where we designed our own theme park. You should look that one up. That was
you should definitely check it out. That was one of my favorite episodes.
I almost gave the same answer of like, Pacific Northwest.
Funny enough,
like,
I think all three of our answers are reflections of that episode. Yeah, definitely, because we had a very apocalyptic, dystopian finale to that one. Check it out.
Yeah, that's right.
That was honestly that was the most fun. It was the wildest
podcast ever.
Another one from Tim Baldwin. He asked, "What out of the way coaster in the U.S. really deserves to be sought out?"
Okay, here's a really out of the way one. The Snow King Resort in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Their vegan alpine coaster is magnificent, and I was there for work, and our work hotel was like within walking distance of the coaster, so I was there and I rode it, and I was like, it was amazing. It's, I think, the best of the mountain coasters that I've ridden, and I don't know if most people even go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, who are also roller coaster enthusiasts, unless you're also like a snowboarder or skier or something. But if you're there for some reason, that you can't miss that one. It's great.
Okay. Well, Sven, I know you haven't been to quite as many U.S. parks as we have, but maybe you've been to one.
I was thinking about twisting the question to Europe.
Fine, do it.
Even that, I can't really come up with someone because Europe it's also close, you know. I guess I haven't ridden it yet, but I'm very curious to ride the Mag coaster at Etnaland. I think it's
Storm.
Storm.
Yeah.
I guess that one is pretty far out. So I'm really curious about that one.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be pretty standard Vekoma fanboy answer. I'm going to say in Idaho, you have Aftershock, which is perhaps the best giant inverted boomerang left, given the amount of care put into it. Mm-hmm. It runs like a dream. It operates consistently. And even though there's no easy way of getting to their park unless you live there, I think it's worth a trip to Silverwood just for that coaster alone. Yeah. So that's my answer.
Good choice.
Okay. Next up is from @Kobe.Fairberg on Instagram, who asked, most anticipated new roller coaster of 2021.
Velocicoaster. Very convenient.
Yeah, Velocicoaster.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
The Intamins.
Next up is @SwaggyBanana25. What is your favorite? What is your favorite coaster model?
I haven't ridden it yet, but the Vekoma Firestorm.
Okay.
Just gets me going. I can't wait to ride one eventually.
I'm going for Gerstlauer Infinity coasters.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every one that I've ridden. Every one of them.
This is going to come as a complete surprise, but the giant inverted boomerang for me. Yeah.
It's the Vekoma,
which I'm technically too tall to ride, but I haven't sent me away just yet. So
not yet. Yeah.
Next up is @John_M_42 on Instagram, who asked, what roller coaster is the easiest to get a good picture of? Very interesting.
The easiest to get good pictures of. We've had a lot of luck with Velocicoaster lately. It's a thrill to photograph that ride. So yeah, I would have to say Velocicoaster again.
I kind of already prepared for that question because I was tagged in a Instagram story by Little Coaster Couple to do that. So I had to go through my pictures because I wasn't sure, but I went for Blue Fire at Europa Park.
Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, on a similar theme, I'm going to go with Riddler's Revenge of Cyclops Magic Mountain.
Oh my God.
Because Riddler's queue and exit are completely woven throughout the layout. Mm-hmm. So you have pretty much every possible angle of that ride to your disposal, whether queuing or exiting. So that's going to be mine. Totally. Next up is going to be @A-Town Andrew on Instagram, who asked us, which new coaster in Orlando or Tampa do you think will be open first and when? I mean, I have the answer to that, but...
Is it Velocicoaster?
Yeah.
Is that our answer?
Soft opening should be pretty soon. Yeah. So I guess it's not much of a rapid fire.
Yeah.
There you go, everyone.
That one is the answer.
Next up is Richard Dewberry on Facebook, who asked us, what coaster project in history do you think, in hindsight, for a park feels like it was a mistake?
I think Drachenfire is one of my favorite coaster design mistakes, and I think about Drachenfire every time we ride Kumba, because Drachenfire was like this hasty, like they wanted a B&M for that park, for that ride layout, and they were like too impatient. Like Busch, like they were like, no, we need it for 1992, and B&M was like, well, we're busy, like we can get you one for 93, but they needed it right now, so they built Drachenfire. And even though I love Arrow, and like I would have had faith in Arrow at the time, that ended up being a huge mistake. So they lose this amazing potential ride. Meanwhile, Busch Gardens Tampa had the exact opposite situation where they knocked it out of the park with Kumba, and it's like the best ride in Florida. So
sure.
A Belgian coaster enthusiast can only give one answer, and that's Vertigo. Belgium.
I knew it.
I'm still so sad that I didn't ride it, because I've seen it. It was operating, then it broke down for the rest of the day. Then I could finally go, but I was with a group, and I had to go home with the bus, so sad.
Mine is going to be a close one to my heart. Cop Car Chase, Movie Park Germany, because Six Flags was overly ambitious and decided that this little park in the middle of effing nowhere in Germany needed a dueling intimate looping coaster themed to a cop car chase through warehouses, previously Lethal Weapon. That ride's maintenance costs must have been through the roof, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense for their trash attendance they had during the last few years of it operating. So, yeah, that is one that was a mistake from the get-go, but was really fun that it existed.
Yeah. And you got that credit. Unlike us with our answers, you got that credit.
That is correct.
Good for you.
Do we know why they weren't able to move them? I don't know much about the coaster, so
the layout. I don't think it's very.
Okay. I wouldn't have thought that they found a buyer. It's way too niche.
It was very niche because it was also kind of trying to be a dark ride with like fire effects and light strobe. I mean, it was all kind of cheapish, but
I'm sure it was for sale.
And was it two separate coasters?
Yes, two. Yeah, coasters. It was not a Mobius. So there were times where like they would dispatch it at alternating times. It kind of fell into like a Six Flags hole almost. And that's how that happened.
That was,
Next question, back to Tim Baldwin for number 3 or 4. This is, what would you say is the ideal height for a wooden coaster? That's a fun one.
Ideal height for a wooden coaster? I'd say 100 feet. You can do a lot with that.
And in meters?
35 meters?
Yeah, 35-ish, yeah.
Is that good enough for you?
Yeah, that works for me.
All right.
And for our listeners.
Yeah.
I'll go with 40 still. What is that in feet?
That's
about 120.
120? Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I'm going to sit around the same spot. I'm just thinking of GCIs who have they're not super, super tall and big, but they do a lot and with the right amount of momentum. And sometimes wooden coasters get too big. Son of a beast. So be careful what you wish for.
They just they don't need to be higher.
They really don't, especially when they're wood because maintenance.
Then you just create problems for yourself, and it's too hard to catch it on a good day or catch it on a good year.
So next up is Andy Hoffman on Facebook, who asked us, what about amusement park brings you joy? What draws you to them and keeps you coming back?
I'm an addict. It's the serotonin for me. Like, it's been that way since I was a child, and it hasn't changed. It's not going to change, I don't think. It's all about the brain chemistry for me.
Yeah, for me it's the immersion and the escape of daily life.
Yeah.
And also the joy to share it with other people.
Aww.
Yeah, for me it's going to be similar to like an escape, kind of like just really relaxing for me. I'm like someone who completely goes to parks on their own because I find it very therapeutic to just kind of just bask in whatever the theming is, or just get on a ride and kind of, nerd out on things. It's just a good place for me to kind of put my thoughts. And obviously it keeps us incredibly busy because we're always thinking roller coasters.
It's a good hobby.
With Coaster Kings.
It's a good lifestyle.
But that really brings me joy. I definitely stay off the streets that way.
We can't afford drugs. You can't afford drugs.
We can't afford drugs if you have to buy these season passes. Do I want drugs or Disney World this year? I'll do Disney.
Yeah.
Next up is from another one from at the parks on Instagram. Best UK coaster.
Well, best? Okay. I think objectively...
Colossus.
No. Okay, instead of saying best, because I feel like the best answer is like really obvious, I'll say my favorite, which is actually the Big Dipper at Blackpool. Even though a lot of people hate that ride because it
we've got some nasty
wails
on
your spine. But that was my favorite for the UK.
I'm still going to go with Nemesis.
Yeah, that was the answer.
So
yeah.
I have not yet been, but one that I'm looking forward to the most will be my response. It's going to be Smiler, because I love my inversions, and I'm definitely a looper kind of guy. So I look forward to riding that monstrosity of awesomeness.
That was a close second call.
Yeah.
I was doubting between those two. So
I was very
but
happy.
I did also really enjoy Big Dipper, actually.
Oh, you did? I think we're the only two.
Well, Emma likes Big Dipper too, because she wrote an article, I'm pretty sure, and then someone was like, "Why is Big Dipper ranked this high? It's not good." And
like,
Emma's
because F you, that's why.
Well, okay. Next up is @mark.ward.1109 on Instagram asks us, "Do you believe Jersey Devil will have slower pacing due to the drawn-out layout?" And I think he's comparing it to like Wonder Woman. And
my answer is I hope so, and also probably. It also, more importantly, is a longer train.
Yeah, 12 vehicles.
A longer train. It's going to be more gradual peaks and valleys and stuff. The current ones just go through the course at like an unnatural pace, and I expect and hope that Jersey Devil will feel a bit more varied in its pacing. But I guess we don't know. We won't know until they start testing.
Yeah,
so.
could go either way, but I would second that sentiment. I think it's going to be a little more palatable for an average audience.
Yeah.
I have no clue, but I want one in Europe.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say...
Wonder Woman
is still good
fine.
for like a small European park as a standout coaster.
Yeah, for Park St. Paul.
Park St. Paul. Yeah.
Okay, inside
Not there.
joke. So next up is a question from Tom Pavlik, a good friend of ours, actually.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom. On Facebook, asked us, will SeaWorld be able to survive by transforming into coaster parks rather than zoos?
Absolutely, because they already have and they already are.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to... I think it's totally fine. I'm sure that they're going to have not the easiest transition because, previous audience came there for the lack of coasters almost, just to focus on the zoological thing. And now it's becoming a lot more of a louder place when it comes to just like atmosphere and things that are happening. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a natural transition because especially in Western cultures, the idea of having just a zoological facility is kind of dying out.
Yeah, they already...
So I think they're doing fine.
In the 90s, I remember like when they started building rides and people were like, oh my God, like parks like this, like because like Marine World, SeaWorld, like it was the late 90s and all of these parks were jumping on the roller coaster bandwagon and people were like, this is what it's come to, like it's not the experience. So I feel like that ship has definitely already sailed. It's not even about phasing out certain types of animals and certain types of captivity settings because parks are already having a lot of success by turning themselves into coaster parks.
And even new parks that are opening around the world that have a zoological focus, they're already combination products.
Yeah. Like Changwon Ocean Kingdom,
Haichang Ocean Park, Changwon Ocean Kingdom.
Like it's already
examples.
A mix, like a diversification of what like a marine life.
Yeah, if anything, SeaWorld
is
just at the game at the right time because everyone's doing it. Next question is from @JHP0317 on Instagram, asking us, ever been to Six Flags over Georgia? Quick answer.
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Next person @Jono.Talbot.
I'm so happy I could say yes.
I know. This excited because I know Sven's been. @Jono.Talbot on Instagram asks us most overrated coaster.
Steel Vengeance. I feel like I don't even need to defend that answer.
I feel like all my answers are already called every time that I ask these questions.
Sorry.
Expedition G-Force.
Ooh. You can find one other than Steel Vengeance, can't you? Maybe something similar to Steel Vengeance.
Oh no, I'm holding up the line. I'm a general publicer.
Steel Vengeance is just like the most obvious answer.
Yeah,
How about Diamondback, Kings Island?
Mystic Timbers.
Oh,
Mystic
also
Timbers.
Kings Island.
Mystic Timbers is not as great as everyone says it is. Like I enjoy the ride for what it is, but to be saying it's the best GCI is to fool yourself.
Yeah.
Next, Chris Leach on Facebook asked us if you could get an unlimited backstage or behind-the-scenes pass for 24 hours, which park would you choose? Why?
I'd probably pick Shanghai Disneyland because their backstage from Google Earth looks so beautiful and like well put together with all that bright concrete and like grassy patches and stuff everywhere. It just looks like shockingly clean and well organized.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Tokyo Disney Sea.
Oh, fair enough.
because I want to see how they do it behind the scenes. Because from what I've heard, everything looks so pretty on the outside. But.
Mine will be Chamlong Ocean Kingdom because obviously name drop every episode. But also their firework display is so incredibly crazy, like permanent fireworks. I wonder how they set up that whole setup because it is just over the top. So that's mine. Back to Tim Baldwin on Facebook asking us top 3 most photogenic coasters. That's all just the one.
Okay. Most photogenic. How about Velocicoaster?
Wow, original.
I really liked how Valkyria at Leesburg was because of its color, its golden color really shines, and especially in the sun, it's very appealing.
That's cool. Mine is going to be Dinoconda because it's a massive steel structure, but it's like in this jungle they created, and the supports blend with the trees. So even though it's a massive 4D coaster, it doesn't really feel like obstructive. It actually looks really presentable.
And it has midway on all sides.
And it kind of just goes through the forest. So
really,
that's going to be
fun
mine.
to photograph for sure.
Yeah. Next question is also from Swaggy Banana 24 on Instagram, asking us the top 5 coasters in the world. So let's just do like your own top 5 real quick. I think that's easier.
Okay.
Do you have it ready?
I guess. Lightning Rod is in there. Tron, Wood Coaster in OCT. Hyperspace Mountain.
Okay, good, you won.
And I guess that I do Ninja at Magic Mountain because it's tattooed on my ankle.
From what I've written, of course, Leg Coaster, Twisted Colossus.
Oh wow!
Untamed, Schroeder's Kernen, and Taron.
Okay. For me, no particular order. Tron, Viper, Hyperspace Mountain, Paris, Wood Coaster, Shenzhen, and
Outlaw Run,
Parrot Coaster, Chamlong Ocean Kingdom.
Parrot Coaster. There you
go. Next up is another one from Andy Hoffman on Facebook asking us, "What's your favorite amusement park memory?"
When we went to Shanghai Disney and I asked you to marry me.
Aww.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. How can I top that? I think the only it's that one ride I had on Teneur de Zeus after a rainstorm and thunderstorm that still printed in my mind like crazy.
So it was running really well.
I was holding on for my life, and I wasn't sure if I was enjoying it or if I was terrified.
It was just a lot.
Mine is a couple days after Alex asked me to marry me when we went to Chamlong Ocean Kingdom, and I was afraid all day to tell him that I liked this park better than the place we got engaged at a week earlier.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, we both agreed that we both liked it better. So I was like, oh, okay. Even though we didn't get engaged here, at least we could both agree that we still like this park the best. Next up, from Ed MZ_sweet666 on Instagram asking us, tell us about a ride or park that you love but lots of people don't. Ride or park?
I love Manhattan Express in Vegas, which is getting a lot of press right now.
We're riding it this weekend.
Yeah, getting a lot of press right now because the new trains, everyone loves it now. Everyone riding it with the new trains says it's amazing. But I liked it even when the trains were uncomfortable because I've always liked that ride. So... But you, Sven?
Well, I'm doubting between two because, like, Euromir is my bae, but I'm not sure how many people really dislike it.
I don't like it.
It has some. You don't like it?
No, I thought I was gonna rip my kneecaps off. I was
about to say it has some rough transitions. I have to say that.
I prefer Eurosat.
And my second choice is Indiana Jones et le Temple de Péril.
Oh. That's a guilty pleasure of ours for sure.
Because I like it. The roughness is good. It's part of the experience, you know. And then I like on the lift hill, on good days, you can see the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
We have to look for that next time. We didn't notice.
For me, it's going to be Viper. Viper is absolutely one of my favorite rides ever, and it's definitely not loved by the masses. So, Viper.
True.
Next up is at Connor_Manigal. And Instagram asking us, what would be your favorite Mac Rides ride?
My favorite Mac Rides ride is probably Lost Gravity. And I'm sorry to take your answer.
It's okay.
But I just think I'm excited to see more of those. I hope more Big Dippers get built.
How about you, Sven?
I'm thinking of a non-coaster, but I can't really come up with it, so I'm still going for Helix then.
Okay.
Gloss Gravity number 1, but since it's already been mentioned, I'm going to say the Blue Fire clone that got stuck in China. We rode it. It was actually really fun because it was my first Blue Fire clone. Go figure my first Blue Fire is actually somewhere on the outskirts of Asia.
Wuxi, China.
But that was really fun.
It was running
I
really
think it's
well.
a super dope layout. And I think that last little twist at the end needs to be done more.
And I think
the little inversion?
The launch on that one was better than the original Blue Fire.
It was still Mac launch. It was still weak.
It was still a Mac launch, but it was better.
Where's Star Trek?
Star Trek Operation Enterprise.
No.
You talk about Star Trek Operation Enterprise.
Oh my god, I love Star
time.
Trek. Okay, Star Trek wins. Next.
Hang on. I want to do a little shout out to one of your Asia updates, because that one coaster that Mac is building right now, that thing looks...
Hurricane Coaster?
How is it Mac?
Yeah.
I know. Like, a Mac better step up their launch game, because it's gonna need to take off like that.
That's a serious bucket lister for us.
Yeah,
they
Forest
also
World
have,
Sucho.
Because they also have a massive Golden Horse tilt coaster there too. So
and a Forbidden Journey style dark ride theme to the jungle, which I didn't realize existed until after I suggested it on a previous episode.
Gorgeous.
Next up, from German coaster enthusiasts, Kumba or Montu?
Kumba.
I will tell you soon once I get to Orlando.
Yeah. Okay. Kumba. Thanks, German coast enthusiast, for sharing that. Next up is Ed Melissa A. Garcia on Instagram asking us, are you excited for Icebreaker?
Okay, yes.
I'm so excited.
Sure.
Are you excited, Sven, for Icebreaker?
Well, from all the coasters that I want to ride in Orlando, it's not really standing out for me, but it might be a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
So having seen it test in person, it actually looks a lot better than I imagined it looking. It looks like it's going to have a little more force to it than previously expected. Yeah, it's not Velocicoaster, but it'll be fun to have something that's not going to require the weighting that Velocicoaster will. So yeah, I'm excited.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see how ops are.
Next up is David Meyer on Facebook asking us, what are your guys' goals within the hobby and your personal lives? Could be destination, experiences, revisits, coaster counts, anything. Any goals that you have with your own personal careers or coaster careers, or are you happy where you're at?
I've achieved all of them.
Wow.
So now I'm just doing the side quests. I already beat the game.
The side quests? The bonus material?
Yeah.
Well, obviously for me, it's all the Disney parks. But I also I want to ride all the B&Ms in Europe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm missing one at the moment, Damonen at Tivoli Gardens, which I had planned to go. And obviously there's also Monster that's opening this year.
Monster
looks good.
Amazing.
Hope to do both of them this year if some stupid disease allows it.
And then for me, it's going to be getting to all Universal parks because I'm super into Battlestar Galactica, so I have to ride that.
Yeah.
And then obviously I want to check out Beijing's upgrades.
For all the times we've been to China, we still haven't been to Beijing. So
so that'll be. There's not that many parks compared to other regions. So another one for me, personal life wise, is as you may have figured that we're kind of Asia obsessed. So with my career, I would like to transfer to a location of employment in China for a year or two, just to kind of experience living there and hit up a lot of parks without having to like cross the ocean all the time.
Do a work visa in China, like a residency.
And I would like to live and work in the Netherlands or Germany for a couple of years because that's my home grounds. And well, not to get into politics, but let's just say that I agree with their system a little more than ours.
Those can be my dreams too, because they're your dreams.
Aw. Yay. So that is that question. Let's see. Next up, we have Chance Knight, awesome follower of us. He also left a cool review on Apple Podcasts, so thank you. A little shout out. You guys should all leave a review on Google as well.
Yes, please.
So his question is, I'm not sure if you know this game, Stan. F, marry, kill. And you have to choose between boomerangs, skyrockets, or free spins. I don't want to use the F word.
Yeah.
It's okay. So F word, marry, kill. What's the game?
Sven, do you have any questions?
What's the difference between F word and kill?
F means that you
would have intercourse with it.
Maybe write it once.
Oh, okay.
I think F, marry, kill means that like one of them like you could F for your whole life, whereas one of them you would just maybe do it once. Yeah, and then one more importantly, kill would be like you would never.
Oh, this is a fun one. Can I go first?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go first. Sorry, Sven. When it comes to my F, I definitely F with boomerangs. Oh wait, F is only once.
Yeah, you wouldn't marry
only
a boomerang?
once.
Oh, I would marry a boomerang.
Yeah,
I would F a free spin because they're fun, but not that great. And then I would kill off the skyrocket too.
That's my answer too. That's my answer. So you go ahead, Sven.
Well, for me, it's the F the boomerang.
How original.
Wait, F or kill the boomerang?
No, sorry, kill the boomerang.
Sven's fucking with the boomerang today.
Kill the boomerang. And then, the only issue is that I haven't done a free spin yet, but I guess I would, at the moment...
You'd F with one, probably.
F it, and then I'd marry the skyrocket.
It's scary, the skyrocket. Okay. I guess we all Fs with free spins. It's nobody's favorite, but it's nobody's least favorite either.
There you go. Take that, SNS.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to go back to Tim Baldwin again. Many coasters hit the brake run with tremendous speed. What are 3 candidates that would make for additional track? So, like, what ride? And Stu Repley and should have had something else.
Pick one.
Each pick one.
Lightning Rod for me, because that thing hauls ass. It comes in hot, and you come, like, the last element is, like, that non-inverting Immelman. Yeah. So you come down a pretty sizable drop into the final brakes, and the ride's already a great length, but my dream, a great ride could always be longer unless it's Steel Vengeance, because that ride just gets boring after a while. Yeah. So more of the same on Lightning Rod would have been fun, but it's good the way it is too.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Full Throttle.
Oh yes.
Yeah, totally.
Best answer.
Like, I remember watching POVs of that in the past, and then that last part where you go over the looping, and then in the brake run, I was like, why would you do that?
Why?
And now I understand why there is a brake run after riding it, but still, it would have been better to have a little more track, you know.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
My answer is going to be a slightly weird approach to this question. I'm going to say Hagrid, and even though Hagrid has the most launches in the world and it's one of the longest roller coasters ever created, the fastest moment, where by far the biggest coaster moment, is at the very end. And you launch and you do like 2 turns, like just actually like one S-turn really, and you fly into those brake runs with quite some speed. And most of the ride is very low to the ground, and it's very like quick, snappy, and the pacing is very like slow down, go, slow down, go, slow down, go. And just when it really goes, like you're really going, like intimate level, it like hits that brake run like nothing else.
Kind of feels like the very beginning of Tron, except that on Tron you have the whole rest of the coaster after.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to say like that ride, even though it's super weird way of answering this question. Next up from Dana Rafferty on Facebook asking us, what is the one coaster you could have ridden or park you could have visited that you didn't, and I read it?
We were talking about this the other day. Growing up and going to LA as much as we did, we never did go to Knott's Berry Farm in the 90s. Even though we could have, I guess it had just never occurred to us. And I regret not riding the wacky soapbox derby racers at Knott's Berry Farm, even though if we had gone like in 95 or 96, I'm pretty sure I would have been tall enough and we would have ridden them, and it would have been great. But also maybe Windjammer surf racers during their brief tenure at Knott's Berry Farm, I would have loved to have had those credits too.
Sure.
So when Sven was 12 years old, he didn't dare to go upside down yet. Strange, right? And he was at Disneyland Paris, and Indiana Jones was running backwards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that hurts me.
So, and I remember standing in front of that queue and doubting, and at the end saying, "No, I won't do it." Like, I mean, one freaking inversion. Well,
self-hate moments.
My life could have been a coaster enthusiast from that moment, and it still took 4 years. So.
Oh wow!
For me, it's going to be Cloty Park, or the Freizeitpark Clotten in the Eifel Mountains. So our family had a big house there, and we would go there almost like every month for like a weekend or 3 days. We'd always just drive down from the Netherlands, and it'd be like a 3-hour drive. And we drove by the park on several occasions, but family is not into roller coasters, and I was still relatively young, and so I never really
or somebody. Who's
it's my uncle's house,
relative,
and so I never really pushed to go, but I knew it was right there. And now I live literally on the other side of the world, and it's been how many years since I've been back to the region, And it still looks like one of the best bobsled coasters.
Yeah,
and I have to go and make a point of it next time, even though now it's way out of the way. It's where it used to be on the way to the house.
Now it's so much harder to go there than it would have been if you
So that's mine.
But I've been there a lot too, and I went, but at the time there wasn't even a coaster. So
so you've been a long time.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm getting old.
Was this before or after your backwards fiasco not riding?
Before.
Next up is at Mark the Shark 822. Love that name.
Yeah.
On Instagram, asking his opinions of
Baby
Six
Shark.
Flags Great America opening, which they have announced the May opening of this year. And do you think it's happening?
God, I hope so. And I feel like that park's pretty well put together. Of the Six Flags parks, it's definitely one of the better operated operations. So yeah, if they open, we will make a beeline there because we wanted to go in 2018 or I guess 2019, and then we wanted to go in 2020, and now we still have to go. I love that park, so hopefully it opens and it doesn't have any issues.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to say beyond that.
Yeah,
I personally agree with that.
Just to be sure, is that the one that's kind of near New York?
That's near Chicago.
This is Chicago.
Oh, so what's the most?
That's Great Adventure.
Famous-
Near New York, that's Great Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
what is one of the most famous rides of Great America? Just for my
They have
orientation.
X-Flight, Raging Bull,
They have Goliath,
the RMC, Top of Track.
Track custom.
So
coaster.
that's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not high on my to-go list.
That's actually really high in mine because we're supposed to go in 2019. Now it's 2021.
Oh,
and we still
Max
haven't
Force.
been.
Max Force is their
Max
new,
Force.
Oh, okay.
the next generation SNS launch coaster. So
Next question from Andrew McLaughlin on Facebook asking, what websites did you look at first that made you coaster fans?
roller coaster database.
Pretparken.be.
Rides.nl. I'm not sure if this is still a thing, but
Yeah,
Rides.nl. I was a little judge, even though I've been on any of these, and I was like rating all these rides on Rides.nl. So that's my kickoff. Yeah.
At one point, I became a team member even, so.
Oh,
Ooh, wow.
Fancy Sven.
Celebrity.
Now he's a coaster king.
Now he's a coaster king.
I am.
We got next question from @Lucy_Flores73 on Instagram asking, what's the biggest coasters you've ridden around the world? So we'll each do one.
Biggest.
guess we'll-
Steel Dragon 2000 is
It's
big
not-
AF.
There's nothing bigger than that. So.
Yeah. Because it depends on.
Red Forest? Yeah, mine will be Steel Dragon too.
Mm-hmm. But we've also been on Tallest.
We've been on Fury. We've been on
King
Kindercott,
of the
Top Thrill. We have a lot of big box rides.
I wrote the Ultimate. That's still
That's
the
long.
second longest coaster
We have
in the world.
Beast.
Oh, it's
Beast.
like longest.
Well, no, she gets.
Well, she's biggest, but it's kind of up for interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up is another one from Whole Lotta Rosie on Instagram asking favorite wooden coaster.
I'll give it to Wood Coaster in Shenzhen only because Lightning Rod is amazing, but it's not the most kosher wooden coaster out there, especially not now, not with the maintenance that they're doing on it. I guess they regret using as much wood for that ride at all as they did. So as far as traditional coasters go, definitely the one in OCT East.
Okay.
Troy, the sensation.
For me, I would say OCT East, but I don't want to have the same answer over and over. So I'm going to say Outlaw Run because people need to give Outlaw Run more credit for having a completely unique lineup of elements where every element is different. It's not just air. And it was the first kind of roller coaster in the world to do what it did.
And
so
unlike Lightning Rod, it's actually cooperating.
And it's honestly really nice
Like
to
it
separate it from the rest of the
functions
park.
as a quasi-wooden coaster,
Good ride.
so yeah.
At the parks, ask us on Instagram, Phantasialand or Europa Park?
I guess I would answer this question as like, if you could go to one right now, which would you go to? And I'd pick Europa Park because it's been a while.
Okay.
I haven't been since 2013.
Yeah, Phantasialand for me. I just think that they have an immaculate product that's really, really unique. Nothing there is really...
Yeah. They just keep
everything
getting better.
screams Fantasia, so...
Europa Park is my favorite resort, but Phantasialand is my favorite theme park.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then we have 4 questions left that were from Tim Baldwin because I didn't want to throw all
Lump
of
them
his
all
in there at
together,
once.
yeah.
So the next 4 are just going to be a rapid fire, same person. At what point does a number of inversions just become silly?
I think 7's the sweet spot. I think Kumba is just like the perfect number and variety of inversions for me.
So like half of Smiler?
Half of Smiley, yeah. Because
Smiler's first
Colossus is too much.
Yeah.
The barrel rolls.
Yeah, but that's because Colossus
it's
has like the same the 5 of the 10 inversions are the exact same inversion.
It's goofy. The 4 barrel rolls and then we rode 10 inversion coaster and chime long, and I'm just like, oh my god, like when is this over? This is not the way to do this. It just didn't feel special or interesting.
Sure.
I don't mind the Smiler, so I could still go up, but I think 20 would be a lot.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I don't have a maximum for what's silly, but what I will say, to piggyback on what I mentioned a couple seconds ago, is that the amount of inversions doesn't matter. It's the amount of different inversions.
It's the variety.
If you're going to have like the Intimate 10 inversions that are complete BS, where you have 5 barrel rolls in a row, like 4 and then a turn and 1 more, that's stupid. Like, you can do a lot more creative stuff. And so if you have a really creative layout with like 15 inversions, that's fine. But if you have 10 inversions where 5 are the same, then that's not fine. Yeah. Next question. Name a cocktail after a roller coaster.
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess for me, my go-to cocktail would be any sort of variation of a Jaeger bomb, because I love energy drinks and I love Jägermeister and I like putting them together. So,
well, a name for a roller coaster.
A name for a roller coaster.
What roller coaster matches that description?
How about Ejinaika?
That sounds like a cool drink name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's about Ejinaika is like the Japanese equivalent of like achieving nirvana, or like the concept of like hedonism, if I'm not mistaken, indulgence. So yeah, for me, totally.
Okay.
I have no clue.
Sven, do you drink?
Conda, okay, nice. Yeah, mine's going to be Time Traveler. I want you to forget how good of a time you had.
That's a great one.
Time Traveler cocktail. You're going to get knocked up right away.
One time I did go to a bar. They had a cocktail called a Mind Eraser. And, of course, immediately I went to the roller coasters.
And I think I've seen a restaurant that had that.
Yeah.
Also, Tiki Waka would be a good one, because and they actually sell cocktails in that area.
That sounds like a fruity drink that is made for me. I love my fruity drinks.
Most painful roller coaster trains in the U.S.
Most painful roller coaster trains. Oh my god, I'd have to go with the Zamperla Volare. I just can't believe that ride is as successful as it is. Like, who rides these things and thinks like, oh, I want this for my park? Like, they're dreadful.
Yeah.
There's no redeeming qualities about what it feels like to ride one of those.
You know, the first time I rode it, I was actually pretty enthusiastic about it, because I had never done anything like it, and I was like, okay, this is a small footprint, would be good. And then I rewrote it, and I was like, nah, what was I drinking that time?
That was us on Tigers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we rode Tigers drunk the other day.
That. Yeah, I'm just thinking of one of the most painful rides I ever had, and that was Bandit. So.
See, I love Bandit, but
my neck still hurts.
Mine would either be the Schwarzkopf trains, because legroom is so miserable that I can't really fit in them. Like, they just hurt. But otherwise, I also really don't like the Premier Skyrocket trains, because the shin guards are too large, and getting in and out sucks. And honestly, if you sit in the wrong row, which thanks Matthew Bond for putting me in the back row, even though I literally asked for another row because I know what it's like.
A row. And I'm like, you know what, other parks were too tall to sit.
It hurts so much that like I can't walk afterwards. Yeah. So those Skyrocket trains are just too tight.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Goliath at Six Flags New England, Mr. Giant and Bird Boomerang.
Well, they tried. It's not like it's a production model. It's not like those trains
at least
everywhere.
Those trains aren't like a thing. Also, the next gen, like, Iron Horse trains.
So then we answered 46 questions, 3 answers each in an hour. So that's, or maybe even less. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
2 minutes left. So that means we're going to rapid plug our website. So thecoasterkings.com has everything you need when it comes to your
all of it.
Coaster enthusiasm. We've got lots of international updates, articles, series. We have a ton of episodes, season 1, season 2 of Coaster Kings Radio. We are now in the middle of season 3. We've got minisodes. We've got regular full-length episodes. Definitely check out our other episodes. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll love you forever, and we'll give you a shout-out. So do that. Help us grow, because you love us and we love you. I want to give a big thanks to everyone for contributing their questions to this episode. I hope that our answers were satisfactory to your questions. And other than that, make sure to see us on the web, thecoasterkings.com, and we'll see you next time.
Comment on our Instagram posts.
Bye.
Bye.